Hi, it's Joe Morgan with the Tech Leader Spotlight podcast, where we interview tech leaders to learn about their journey and leadership lessons learned along the way. This show is brought to you by the Tech Professional Money Operating System, where we help tech professionals who know they're doing well financially, but aren't certain if it's enough. And they also know that they want to achieve more with the finances they have. We help you invest cash wisely, make the most of stock awards, minimize your tax bill, and overall create clarity and confidence so you can spend less time worrying about your money and more time living the life you want. If you'd like more information, look me up on LinkedIn. That's Joe Morgan at Best Financial Life. Today, I'm very excited to have on the podcast Nisarg Shah, who is a product manager at Meta and is an experienced leader who specializes in AI ML products. Welcome to the podcast, Nisarg.
Thanks for having me on, Joe.
Great. So you specialize in AI ML products. So what does that mean to you in your world?
Yeah, so that's a good question. AI ML product managers usually are the ones who are leveraging these advanced technologies for solving a specific use case. Um, in my journey, I've used that to solve problems like how do we improve the search experience on websites like Amazon Business or Staples, and even in Prime Video, to see how we can recommend the right content to people. And right now at Meta, it's about Facebook groups, helping people find the right groups and showing the right content to them. So you can imagine the scale at which things happen. Like there are millions and billions of content or information out there, and somehow the machine has supposed to figure out, what's the right thing for you. And that's where AI ML comes into place, where it understands your intent, your preferences, and also on the other side, like what the product is about, how relevant it is to your use case, and then makes that match. So that's how easy, like in a simple way, I can explain what AI ML does and how I've created product in this space and delivered a lot of cool experiences over the years.
Yeah, that's great. So the improving search results really resonates with me because I know that that has improved so much in the past, 5, 10 years, certainly the past 10 years, but the past 5 years. Now, when we think of like what AI is today, were we using AI to improve search results, say 5 years ago?
In some shape or form. Like right now, what we are talking about AI is LLMs. Like these are generative models which are creating text and much easier to understand rather than some complex models. But in a nutshell, like machine learning is a component is a subset of AI, and that is something that we have used all along. For the last 10 years plus. To give you an example, like back in the time, like people used to search for salicylic acid on Amazon Business, and they would get this beauty makeups and all, whereas the industrial people are looking for those 25 pound of salicylic acid bags. So machine learning is all about understanding, what the intent of the user is, what their experience is, and to make sure that they're not getting these beauty products and instead are getting these 25 pounds bags of salicylic acid. So that
Yeah.
is all machine learning, which is a part of AI.
Okay, great. I appreciate the explanation. Thank you. So let's turn to our topic, our typical topic, which is leadership. So what does leadership in the tech space mean to you?
That's a good question. It can mean very different things over the years. As I've also grown in my career, there are different things I've learned. But now, if I have to distill it down into something very simple, is just how can we be more intentional about creating velocity, in a complex organization. To me, that's what leadership comes down to.
Hmm.
Um, and the reason for that is like these big organizations, they have a lot of complexity. There's a lot of existing user patterns and behaviors that are in place, even organizational structure in place. And then if you have to steer the ship in a different direction, that's what leadership comes down to. Like, are you able to do that in the most effective way? Are you able to deliver products, before others in the market and truly make an impact? And if you want, I'm happy to go a little bit more into how I think, people can apply this. Like it
Yeah,
sounds
please.
great, but To me, like it breaks down into three different parts, which is for to make it easier for people to understand. The first part is why. Like, how do we like when you think about a user problem or a mission, like if that is very well understood within the organization, the why part, it makes it very easy for people to buy in into that and have a shared understanding of, for example, in a company, you can have marketing, product, engineering, legal. Everyone is playing a very different role. But if everyone has a very shared understanding of, in very simple terms, like what is the problem we are trying to solve or what is our mission, it makes it easier for them to connect the dots on how my success will ladder up to customer success. So I
Hmm.
think that's the first part of the framework on defining a very clear why. Second thing is what to do.
Hmm.
And that is where the framework, a simple framework of three P's comes into place. So once you have defined the mission, second thing is three P's, which is do you have the right product that you're building? Second, do you have the right people in the right roles
Hmm.
to be successful? And the last one, do you have the right programmatic setup, which is like the operations piece? Do you have these? If these three P's are very important to make sure that after the mission is defined, you have the right set of people, product, and program in place to start operating. And the last part is how the magic happens to achieve this uh, thing. Um, like once these things are in place, then to me, I've seen that people feel very empowered to make decisions themselves because they know what they're supposed to do. They know what success looks like. It empowers everyone to raise the bar and move at light speed towards that mission. And that's where the magic happens, and truly how you can create that intentional velocity towards a common mission. And that's where I think a leader can be successful within any organization.
I love that. It's so much good stuff there. So, how can we be more intentional about creating velocity in a complex organization and deliver products in a more efficient way? And then your three areas of why, understanding the user problem, that's pretty self-explanatory, but also it can change and evolve as you get into it, I
Exactly.
imagine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
And then sorry, go ahead.
no, 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 please go for it.
I was just going to go on to so what to do, the three pieces. So do you have the right product you're building, the right people in the right roles, and then the right programmatics and operations? That part seems to maybe in the past have not been given the full weight. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, usually people assume that if you hire the right talent and if you're building
Right.
the right product, the magic happens. There's a reason there are so many companies building the same product, and there are reasons why certain companies can move faster, certain companies can make faster decisions. Um, to give you an example, like in Amazon, there was a concept of two pizza team, and the whole idea was that it's a self-contained startup. Uh,
Mm.
like that
Hmm.
team can independently take decisions, and that really stuck to me. Like that a right setup, even something as simple as two pizza team, can create wonders, and that's why you have seen so many innovations happen in Amazon over the years. In Meta also, like people are empowered to make a lot of decisions very quickly, especially the ones which are like two-way door decisions. Like if it doesn't work, you can roll back. So these kind of simple changes or setups can make a world of a difference on how
Yeah.
people operate and the impact that they can deliver.
Yeah, and one of the things that comes up for me as an outsider, I'm from the world of finance, is how much collaboration there is in this industry. It's just assumed that we collaborate, right, in this world. That's not my world. That's not where I'm from, right? So I love it when companies or managers, leaders take that to the next level, which is really what you're talking. You're talking about some pretty in-depth collaboration within teams, small teams, and then I assume across teams as well.
Yeah, I think seeing collaboration in tech space has always been the norm, like especially in medium to big organizations, maybe not
Yeah.
in startups. But you see a lot of different parts of the companies, that come together to actually deliver a new product. And So collaboration is the norm, I would say. The thing that always makes or breaks things is, does everyone have that shared understanding, right? Um, if your legal is like, I don't care, but I don't want to take risk,
Mm,
that will be the blocker. If your product team just wants to ship products like quickly without thinking about the big picture, then you are going to end up with a very hacky product.
mm.
Everyone needs to understand that mission and have the shared understanding of what is the Uber thing that we need to build and work towards that. So that's where collaboration becomes more effective. But definitely, it's not an optional thing, at least from what I've seen in tech.
Okay, yeah, good. So one of the other things that's going on in tech these days, unfortunately, is a lot of layoffs
Yeah.
around the industry. And so with those job challenges today, what piece of advice can you recommend to people to create resiliency in the case that layoffs come their way?
Yeah, that's a very tricky spot right now that a lot of people find themselves in. And it's pretty unfortunate because, people spend a lot of the time in their college and early part of their career to uh, skill up and get better at it, become leaders in their organizations. But what we are seeing right now is a big revolution where people probably need to stop thinking about job security and maybe think about skill permanence more.
Hmm.
What I mean by that is, how can you adopt and evolve, in this day and age, um, where things are changing at light speed. The roles are also morphing into one another, and how you can evolve, in this space. So the biggest thing I would say everyone is think about how at your work, in your personal life, can you incorporate these changes that's happening, these AI driven uh, revolutions, that's happening. To give you an example, like at work nowadays, instead of like as a product manager, my big part of my role is to create experiences, get alignment with the leadership about that experiences, and get that product shipped. Previously, it was all about like writing documents and whatnot,
Hmm.
but now I've gotten more into creating prototypes instead. So how can
Hmm.
I get prototypes faster instead of like and letting the leaders visualize and feel like what exactly we are trying to deliver,
Hmm.
writing that 5 or 6 page document.
Hmm.
So that is a big evolution, right? Like now I've gone from just writing a Word document to someone who's creating this code, creating these prototypes and sharing it with the leadership. And not that it's production ready or not, but it is at least at a point where a more robust discussion can happen. The cycle times of product that is being shipped has reduced. So that this is more of a mind shift, that people have to accept. And the sooner they skill up, I think the better it is for them. So in this day and age, make yourself like empower yourself with AI,
Hmm.
learn the right skills, that are aligned with your domain. If you're an engineer, then learn how to use AI first, code development. If you are a product manager, then figure out how you can tell more compelling stories using AI, to create prototypes or other things. So depending on the role, yeah, I think that would be the biggest thing, making yourself like a 2x or 4x the individual that you are in terms of productivity. And that's where you can truly show the organization, your value and either, stay, solidify your space in the current company, or at least look for opportunities, new opportunities, that are coming up. Like, for example, I think Microsoft now is the is hiring AI product managers the most. So this
Hmm.
is like a new job category itself that is coming up, and I think it'll be good for folks to prepare themselves for that, upskill, and accept that this is a permanent change and not something that's a fad that's happening in
Yeah.
the industry. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. A lot of good tips there. The one that stands out to me is really about, figuring out ways to bring out the value. And I'll use my words, bring out the value in a way that the receiver can receive it, right? And that's what I hear you saying when you say you're using prototypes and, that it's not so the tip is not use prototypes. The tip is communicate in such a way that you up the level of discussion and you increase the value that you're bringing to the team. Is that
Exactly.
fair?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, next question. What is the most important financial decision you've made in your tech career, whether it's about comp or equities, personal spending, planning for the future, whatever it is you're willing to share?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good question. So I think I've been working for 15 years. When I graduated, I got out with student debt, and I hated that feeling. I think
Hmm.
most of us do.
Yeah.
Uh, so ever since, like, I've always focused on making sure that my lifestyle debt is lower than my lifestyle earnings. Like,
Mm.
um, what I mean by that is, like, I've always made an honest effort to make sure that, yes, I want to enjoy a lot of things, but at the same time, I don't want to scale up my expenses as my income was growing. And I focused on uh, saving that delta, that was there in making some aggressive long-term investments, and leaving that money there for it to compound. It sounds boring, but I can see that, over the 15 years, what it enables you to do is you don't have to then at some point, you will pay off your debts. You will come to a point where, well, money is important from job, but at the same time, like, you can prioritize your passion, you can prioritize your well-being, all those other things, that are also a key factor to your career, like to have a long, successful career.
Mm.
Uh, so those things are something that you can prioritize if you help, you know, create a delta between your earnings and expenses and investing that wisely. Um, I've also, like, in terms of RSUs, like in tech, I think that's a pretty normal thing.
Hmm.
I like, I remember back in Staples, not that I got a lot of RSUs, but I sold them day one. One, because I didn't believe that, my money would compound uh, there, and it was a lot of risk, like my income also coming from there and RSUs also being in that.
Yeah, that's right.
I took that, I invested in some secular trends that I was seeing, and diversified my portfolio. So that is something that I've done quite a lot, and it has served me well. Sometimes maybe I've missed some opportunities of leaving the money there, but at the same time, like, I can sleep well at night knowing that my destiny is not tied to just one company. And I think finance is also something that's very personal. I know, like, rental property and all that is uh, very well documented, as an investment option as well. So when I
Hmm.
was changing the house, I ended up getting a rental property from an old one, but I realized I didn't like the hassle of having a high debt position, having to manage that daily work, not daily, but still, like, occasional work of maintenance and whatnot. So even though it may have been a decent sound investment, but I didn't think the amount of effort required for the return was, justified for my situation. So it can be very personalized as well. It may make sense for a lot of people, but just, yeah, make some very common sense decisions. When it comes to AI, use things like Gemini, ChatGPT to help, plan for your retirement as well, and evaluate your situations. That's all I can say. Yeah, but just
Yeah.
not scaling up your expenses, I think, is the biggest thing.
Lot of good tips there, and I'll just put the exclamation point on the not scaling up expenses. That is huge because it feels like such a loss when we double our expenses and then have to cut back 5%.
It is
That
very,
that feels horrible.
yeah,
It doesn't sound horrible, mathematically, but it's the worst thing ever, and it's so
see?
much better to have the extra flexibility.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm sure, like, you probably know a lot more than me in this space. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I've seen it. I've seen all kinds of situations, and uh, that from a spinning perspective, that seems to be the hardest. So, well, thank you so much, Nisarg, for joining us today on the Tech Leader Spotlight podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I really appreciate what you've said, and you've given us a lot to think about. So, So just as a reminder, this is sponsored by the Money Operating System, where tech leaders gain clarity and control of their finances so they can live out the rest of their life with intention. If you want to know more about us, look me up on LinkedIn, Joe Morgan at Best Financial Life. And until our next episode, let's all focus on making the next right decision.